The United States government now has to spend its time in court defending its own trade policy against half its own states. Let that sink in from a European vantage point. In Berlin or Brussels, tariffs are a fight between countries. In America, they've become a fight between Washington and America. Here's what happened. President Donald Trump recently imposed fresh import duties on around 60 trading partners, the European Union included. The rate is 10, in some cases 12.5%. The official justification: these countries, Washington says, aren't doing enough to fight forced labor in global supply chains. A noble cause, on paper. But now 25 Democratic-led states have gone to court to have those tariffs struck down. Their accusation is blunt. The forced labor argument is a pretext. What's really going on, they say, is the same thing that keeps happening: the president reaching for a convenient legal hook to slap sweeping tariffs on the world. And from the outside, you can see why they're skeptical, because this is the third act of the same play. Back in February, the Supreme Court, not exactly a hostile crowd for this president, ruled that Trump's original tariffs, imposed under an emergency powers law, were unlawful. A clear majority of justices said he'd exceeded his authority. The consequence: Washington now has to refund billions in duties already collected. So the administration went looking for another legal doorway. In May, a federal court knocked down most of the next round too, and these newest tariffs, the forced labor ones, they arrived conveniently just in time to replace the global tariffs Trump no longer had any legal ground to charge. The timing tells the story. What outsiders find quietly remarkable is who's carrying the argument against these tariffs. Not Brussels, not Beijing. It's Oregon and 24 other American states. The Attorney General put it plainly: these duties push up costs for working families, clothing, electronics, the everyday things, across America. In other words, the states are saying the tariffs hurt Americans, not foreigners. That's the part American political theater tends to skip. Now the case lands at the Court of International Trade in New York. If it strikes the duties down, that's another stinging blow to a tariff policy that keeps losing in front of judges. An appeal is possible and likely. So is another workaround. And this is the pattern worth naming. Trump believes there's a global trade imbalance stacked against the United States, and that tariffs are the fix. Fine, that's a legitimate position to hold. But the courts keep saying it's the method that's illegal, not the ambition. Impose, get struck down, relabel, impose again. The forced labor framing is simply the newest label on the same box. For Europe, watching from across the Atlantic, the lesson is uncomfortable but clarifying. American trade policy right now isn't a stable set of rules you can plan around. It's a legal experiment being run in real time, with the president on one side and his own courts and states on the other. And the rest of the world is just standing in the shipping lane, waiting to see who wins. That's the view from here. What does it look like where you are? Drop it in the comments and subscribe for the perspective American media won't give you.